Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. As you can see, my hair is completely buzzed because I had to get a haircut recently. So I am returning to you tonight for an album review, and I'm sorry that it took so long to get to this album review. I got two more to do afterwards. So this is for Schoolboy Q's Blue Lips album that I got a chance to listen to for myself to see what I was going to think of this record. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for all 18 songs for a runtime of 56 minutes and let you know my thoughts on this album overall. So let's dive into this album review. It starts with Funny Guy. Basically, this song's solid. I don't hate it necessarily, but I don't know if I like it too much. I mean, it's a solid intro. It's good for what it is, but I have some critiques with how it's sounding, with Schoolboy Q rapping a little bit, and just the way it's executing it has its hits and misses. So this is going to be a 4.5 out of 5 for this track. Pop featuring Rico Nasty. Pretty good song. I mean, it's a little repetitive. It's repetitious with how they say pop so much. Um, so it kind of gets a little ear grating a bit, but overall, I'd probably give it a 4.5 out of 5 for this one too as well. It's good, but I don't know if I like it too much. Next one is Thank God for Me. This one's gonna get a 4.75 out of 5. I don't hate this one either. I think it's pretty good in its own way, but does have slight issues with the execution some of the time, but overall it tries to play it safe in a good way. Blue Slides was one of the singles I listened to. I think it was the first single. I only listened to two of the singles. I think they had another single, which was Yearn 101. But I didn't listen to that because I wanted to be patient to see what I was going to think of the record. And I know this record came out this past Friday. I just didn't review it at the time because I was dealing with some things. Got a new dog and just trying to deal with some things outside of YouTube as well. Like focus on, excuse me, on making sure the dog gets along with cats mostly. So there's kind of a issue, I guess, with that. But hopefully it gets resorted later on. But still, Blue Slides was the first single I listened to for this record, and off the bat, it's pretty good. So I'd give it a 4.75 out of 5. Yearn 101. I actually thought this was a pretty good track for what it went for, so I'd give it a 5 out of 5. I like the melody to it and how Schoolboy Q is rapping it. So this was probably one of my favorite tracks for the record. Lovebirds is pretty good in its own way too. There's some annoying moments through this track with how I think Devin Malik or whoever is rapping and harmonizing. But overall, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5 just to be safe because I like it, but I don't love it too much. Movie featuring Oz Chike or Cheeky or however you pronounce it, Chike. Um, Basically, this one's above decent. It's not one of my favorite tracks for the record, but it has its corny moments from time to time with how it's executing, and the feature artist rapping is not really doing so well in this track. So I'd give this a 4.25 out of 5. Cooties is a good song in its own way, but it does have its cringe moments from time to time with how Schoolboy Q is rapping it and his performance with his vocals. It depends. There's some good moments and then there's some weak moments through the track. Mostly in the verses. So basically 4.5 out of 5. Ohio featuring Freddie Gibbs. It's a good song in its own way. I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. I don't hate it so much, but I just don't know if I like it right now. I gotta see if it grows on me. Folks, or Faux, I believe is how you pronounce it, Faux, Faux, featuring Absol. good song in its own way, but it does have its hit and miss moments with the melody, and just the way it's sounding. So I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. First is kind of iffy. I mean, it's above decent, but it's just not as fantastic as I thought it'd be. So 4.25 out of 5. Nunu is 4.25 out of 5. It's another one that I don't know if I care for. It's above decent, but it could be a little better. So, Back in Love featuring Devin Malik. It sounded like Devin Malik was taking over the track a lot more for this album version of the track. The album version's interesting. Do I love it? Yeah, it's pretty good. Schoolboy Q takes over the rest of the way through the second half of the track, and it sounds pretty good. And it was one of the singles for the record. When Blue Slides came out, it was the second song to come out after it, and it's pretty dope of a track, so I dig it. 4.75 out of 5. Lost Times featuring Jazzy is a good song in its own way. I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5. I don't necessarily hate it. Jazzy's rapping in it or singing in it is fine. Germany 86 is a good song in its own way. I'd give this a 4.5 out of 5 as well. I don't hate it either. I just don't necessarily love it. Time Killers is going to get a 4.5 out of 5. I don't really hate this track, but honestly, there are some hit and miss moments with this song. Pig Feet featuring Childish Major was pretty dope of a track. It's the second to last song before you get to the last track, which is not a long song. So 4.75 out of 5. Childish Major sounded pretty dope with how they were rapping and performing in this track. Smile is a minute and 11 seconds of a track, and it's not a bad way to end the record. Schoolboy Q's rapping is pretty solid, so I'd give this a 4.75 out of 5. Overall, production, mixing, and execution-wise, I found myself thinking that Schoolboy Q Blue Lips was a good record. Not one of my favorites of the year, but it's a good album in its own way. So I'd give this an 8 out of 10, in my opinion. I don't necessarily love it, but it's as good as the last record, which was Crash Talk. That came out like 5 years ago, and I'm glad he did a follow-up to that record, but in a better way. Crash Talk had its hits and miss moments. It was a good record, just like this one was, but there were some execution flaws with certain tracks. So 8 out of 10 for Schoolboy Q Blue Lips, his new album that came out on March 1st. Thank you guys for watching this album review tonight.